Hi, Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. For nearly 30 years, I've been focused on helping advisors become the best both personally and professionally. This show is dedicated to sharing with you tools, tips, strategies, distinctions, things that are working now. I'd love for you to take a moment, and if you're watching this on YouTube, click the like button and also the subscribe button so you get automatic updates. And if you happen to be listening to us on a podcast, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and you leave a positive review for us. Now, with that said, let's get to today's episode. Well, welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Let's talk about habits and rituals and why they either make or break success as a financial advisor. You know, what's fascinating in my career is that when I'm looking at a new client or a prospect, if you will, maybe in that terminology, you know, one of the things I want to talk to them about is I want them to take me through a typical day and a typical week. And you know, what's very interesting is they'll start off the conversation in a more of a nebulous fashion. You know, I get up early, for example. I said, no. Like, what time do you actually get up, right? And like, I literally want them, not a minute by minute, but I really want them to take me through, what do you get up, you know, how much time do you stay, kind of get ready for your day. These days, there's not much of a commute, obviously, but I want to get a feel for kind of how they operate inside of their typical business day. What's interesting is, I want you to think about this. If you're looking to elevate your results, right, and let's just say your economics, right, your top line. Well, I mean, there's doing more, right? So I think a lot of time the concept a lot of advisors get into is, well, I'm going to work harder. And when I always say, well, what does that mean exactly? Well, I'll put more time in. I said, okay, what does that mean, right? And a lot of times when I really look at and dissect a typical day, a typical week, and really what I'm looking at is their habits and their behaviors, right? Because those will make or break any success. And oftentimes, I want you to think about this for yourself. You know, how much time do you waste? You know, like for example, I have people come to me a lot of times and when I'm doing an evaluation or I'm on a Zoom call with our Magellan Network tribe, and you know, a member will say, hey, I've got a procrastination issue or I've got a procrastination problem, right? And I've always found that to be very fascinating because procrastination is a habit. Procrastination is a ritual. Procrastination is a standard. And I want you to think about it. It's a strategy, right? Procrastination in my mind is you literally, and I want you to picture this for a second, see how ridiculous this sounds. You get up, I don't feel like doing anything right now. I need to make some client calls. I need to prep for a review. I need to follow up on some things. I've got some administrative work. I got things I really don't feel, I'm just not into it right now, right? So to me, procrastination would be, I'm going to go sit on a chair and stare off into space, or I'm going to stand in the corner and look in the corner, right? No, what most people do, what most advisors do, is our brain goes, okay, we don't feel like doing anything really important, but we got to do something. We got to, in our minds, feel like we're doing something. We got to be busy, right? So what do? Check email, you know, go on CNBC, surf the web, right? But if you think about it, these are all strategies. Again, this is not a procrastination issue. It's a strategy issue. Most human beings procrastinate for two reasons. Number one, they have inept or non-clearly defined goals, or they have tasking in front of them that the mind deems as uncomfortable, i.e., I don't want to do it, right? So your brain goes, okay, fine, let's find a way to distract ourselves, and let's go make up a narrative in our mind. Hey, let's go do some research, or let's do this, right? We kind of create that narrative, and that's all it is a pattern, right? So one of the things you want to look at inside of your typical day, inside of your typical week, is what are my patterns that support my success? What are my patterns that hinder my success? And, there could be neutral, but let's just say there's two buckets, right? So what serves me, what does not serve me. And what you'll find is there are, inside of each and every one of us, there are our go-tos, right? So, hey, I don't feel like doing anything right now. Oh, I'll take a call from a friend, or I'm going to check in with somebody, right? Or your favorite client calls, and it should be a 5-minute conversation because there's really nothing going on, but, I'm going to talk to them for the next 45 minutes, right? And you wonder why you're not growing your business is because your patterns are not allowing you to do that. You're running them either, in most cases, subconsciously, right? You don't think about doing it, you just go do it. We must examine all of these factors. Now, a habit is something where, like what you eat, for example. Okay, so habitually, what do you have for lunch, right? If your game is around order by numbers and supersized, right, and it requires you getting in a car and going through like a drive-through, chances are it's probably not going to support your goals, right? But that's a habit. How you start your day is a habit, right? How you approach things are habits. And in order to elevate, you must be willing to, number one, first off, define what they are, right? And then get leverage on yourself. So let's say you have a pattern or a habit you don't like. Let's say, for example, let's just say economics. Let's say lunch. This is a great example. What I do with a lot of my clients is that we will track, not in a kind of authoritative, detailed way, but more kind of let's get some feedback. How are your energy levels in the afternoon, right? So, for example, somebody says, hey, I feel really good. I get up in the morning, I go work out, I rock start out, I get in the office, wherever that is these days, and I hit it. But man, by like 2 or 3 o'clock, I just want to put my head down. I'm like done. Like I just want to zone out somewhere. Typically, that always makes me think about lunch. So then I'll ask the question. Well, tell me how we roll with lunch. What's our lunch deal, right? What's our habit? What do we do habitually? And, more often than not, probably 80, 90% of the time, I'll find that, their choice of meal, right, for lunch is not supportive to energy, not supportive to, easy digestion. In other words, they eat this heavy meal and they want to go nap time, right, basically, as all human beings would after a heavy carbohydrate loaded meal, right? So I've identified it. Great. Okay, so now we know. That's the easy part. Now the hard part. In order to make a change and to elevate a pattern or habit, you must get leverage on yourself. So here's the question. How much revenue, how much productivity do you think it cost you, each afternoon, right, to kind of operate, let's say, a level 3 versus a level 7, right? So we're not going to talk about trying to get to level 10, right? We're kind of going from a 3 to a 7, or a 4 to a 6, or 4 to a 7, 5, 8, whatever. And they'll say, well, probably I could probably do an extra review in the afternoon. Okay, fine. I said I could probably do a couple of extra touch-base calls or emails in the afternoon. Okay, that's good, right? I could probably follow up on a COI. So okay, that's fine, right? So in other words, I can take a couple hours of productivity and do something with that. So great. So let's times that by 5, right? And so we'll have now, 5 extra reviews in a week, right? And I say, okay, well, times that by, let's keep this math simple. Let's times that by 4, that's 20, right? Let's times that by 12, and we're 240. And how many years have been in the business? 20 years. Okay, so that's 2,400. That's 4,800, right? 4,800. And I said, what would happen if every 10th, so hear me out on this. So we run inside Magellan Network, we have a review protocol, client review protocol. And inside the review protocol, we always remind our clients that we're a resource. We're here, we're open, in other words, and this is we're open for business. We're looking for introductions, right? So let's just say every 10th. So we're not going to be crazy. 90% failure rate. Every 10th meeting, we're going to go ahead and source a name. A client's going to think of someone, know someone. And by the way, when we're doing this, we're not doing this in this offhanded, here's like a slip of paper or here's a legal pad, write down some names. Like, this is not Law and Order. This is not the interrogation room, right? We're being very professional. It just reminds more of a conversation. But let's say 90% of the time we fail, one time we're successful. I got 4,800 of these over the last 20 years. Extra, for one extra day. Okay? That's 480 names. Now, what's your ratio? So if you got 10 names from clients, if you got 10 referrals, let's just say half are not qualified. Mentally, not mentally, emotionally, like they're not looking for help. Economically, the math's not there. So, that's going to leave me, with what? 240, right? 40, 240, right? 240. If I gave you 240 qualified, they're looking for help, they desire help, and they're economically qualified, and they're coming off an endorsement / referral from a client. 240 of them, how many of those would you close? 70%, 80%, 90%, right? That would double, triple some people's businesses. Transcend a practice, right? What most human beings don't understand is the devastating negative impact of a negative pattern or habit over time. We get into the tomorrow game. Oh, I'll fix it tomorrow. I'll do better tomorrow. I'll work harder tomorrow. I'll apply myself better, more tomorrow. And then day by day, week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter, year by year, decade by decade goes by, right? Nothing changes. And by the way, I didn't just rip this concept or this example out of my butt like it sounded like a good idea. I've worked the numbers with people in this industry, and those are the numbers. Okay? So what do you think about this? What to order for lunch has a 6-figure impact on your bottom line every year. What you order for lunch. Because what you order for lunch affects your energy levels. When your energy levels are affected, you don't feel like doing. When you don't feel like doing, guess what? You don't do. We don't get the extra review in. We don't get the extra review in. We don't have the opportunity to serve our clients, look for outside money, remind them that we're open for business. One time a day, times 5, times time, right? There we go. One little thing. So I can correlate a lot of things that, some things are correlating in this industry, some things you can't, right? But I can tell you this. The more mental, physical, and emotional energy you bring into your game, the better your habits are. Daily. Not like, let's not think about it let's go very granular here inside this conversation. When you're operating, let's think about this. Here's the approach. What must I do to maximize, optimize my day today, right? And you come up with a list of things. Great. But if you don't feel like doing them, what's the probability that you're going to do them? Yeah, you can use willpower to a certain degree, and I get it. But willpower, first off, it takes a lot of energy to will yourself to do stuff. Especially if you physically are not feeling great. You're exhausted. You just want to, like I said, you want to go take a nap. You just don't have the energy level. And let's be very clear. We're in the people business. You can't show up in the people business, in the communication business, in the influence business, in the must get outcome business, half throttle. That will not give you a good outcome. One little thing. What to order for lunch can have a 6-figure impact on your business. It's crazy, right? Like when I say, go, man, is that right? But then you do the numbers over time, and like I said, does it have a 6-figure impact, in a day? No, it doesn't, right? Does it have a 6-figure impact in a week? No. A month? No. Over the course of a career? Some of you who watch or listen to me have been around for 10 years. Let's say you've been around 5-10 years. Let's say 5 years, right? 5 years. I'm going to tell you, it's cost you probably 20 to 30 new households. You tell me what your average household is, top line rev, right? Times it out, there's your math. Everybody's math is going to be unique to them. You're 10 years in the biz, figure it out. Do it. And so here's the question. Remember I said, in order to make change, you must have leverage? So here's the final part of our little lesson in this episode. Let's just say you come up and you've been in this business, let's say 15 years, and you realize that because you've decided to eat like not too intelligently, that it costs you an extra $100,000 to $150,000 of lost revenue. We're not talking assets, we're talking cash, income, okay? So here's what I want you to do. Whatever your number is, I want you to write it down. I want you to look at it. Annually, so like what's the gap annually based upon this example, right? And then what I want you to do, I want you to imagine that we're going to deposit that amount of money right now into your bank account, into your business bank account. What does that money represent to you? What would you be able to do? Would you be able to hire a junior advisor, take over your C&D book to give you more time freedom? Would you elevate your assistant? Would you do something with your office? Would you do something personally? Would your spouse not have to have a JOB? Like, what would be different, right? Because until you can find the pain inside of that conversation for yourself, you'll never change. You'll intellectualize, okay, sounds good, yeah, I get it. No. No pain, no change. You must get leverage on yourself. So what I'd have you do is write out, like I said, money goes to the bank account, what would you do with it? Now it's not there. So here's your situation. It has to hurt. Because if there's no negative emotional impact for you, you'll never change. This is, by the way, this is strategy and psychology married together to produce a different elevated outcome for you. That's what this is. Okay? So that's what I have for you this week on the Magellan Network Show. And thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to share these ideas, concepts, strategies that I use with my personal coaching clients. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I'll see you on our next episode. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game both personally and professionally.